Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I hope you all are doing amazing. Today's read will be a collective read. So as per usual, I will be starting off with an oracle and we can clarify the existing energies with tarot. Okay. Okay, guys, so we have three cards that wanted to come out here. We have rehearsing the past, mental scripts, guilt, and self-blame. And in the reflection or the little sticky note here, it says, I should say. So I feel like with this card off the bat, there's a lot of like shoulda, woulda, coulda energy, reliving a situation and maybe seeing how they could have operated differently. Someone could also just be rereading text messages, right? It doesn't necessarily have to be a conversation that has taken place in person. And then we have guilt and self-blame. So there's something here that they're not proud of as they're reflecting. And then we have cycle repeat, same drama, different day, stuck loop. And then we have healed, not hooked, freedom, detachment, clarity. Okay. So I'm actually getting a very clear message here. Many of you are at the end of a cycle. Okay, so you're going to be, energies are fluid. So some of you are nearing the end of a cycle. Some of you have completed this cycle and now you're just in the process of reflecting. But pretty much what I'm getting here, or what's standing out to me, is healed and not hooked. Okay, so you no longer feel consumed by a connection or a person, their actions, or their communication towards you. And it's a very freeing kind of feeling here because you're detached, but you're also seeing things from a different perspective. There may have been a lot of confusion as you were connecting with this person, but now that you're detached or, taking a few steps back and looking at the situation without actually feeling consumed by it or feeling like your emotions are, or feeling like you're flooding in your emotions, you're having a shift in perspective. This connection, there could have been a very repetitive cycle. Many of you started to realize that you were not seeing the necessary changes, even if it was something that you were communicating. Okay. And I see someone, yes, reflecting on this connection, but specifically when it comes to what they could have done, what they should have done. This could also be someone who feels like they did not try hard enough to keep this connection together. So as you walked away or as you detached, you could have felt that this person was in a very nonchalant energy, kind of maybe even wondering to yourself, do they care? Do they care about the connection? Do they feel guilty about what they've done? Do they feel sad for the hurt that they've caused? And even though it felt difficult, you detached. And I see someone who is, yes, regretful, but specifically thinking about what they could have done to keep this connection together. Okay. Now, the cycle repeat card, it says same drama, different day. So for some of you, this was a connection where there was a lot of bickering. There could have been a lot of arguments. And the arguments could have been about the same thing over and over again, where you kind of felt like, okay, we're arguing with each other, we're in conflict, but we're never really coming to a solution. So said all that to say that it could have become something that was very, very draining for you guys to deal with. So let's see what's going on here. Okay. So we have the Knight of Pentacles on the bottom of the deck, and we have the Judgment. Yeah. This is definitely the end of a cycle, but this also speaks about waking up to the reality of a situation. So there may be times that you were ignoring what's going on, and maybe it stemmed from a place of love or a place of really wanting something to work out, right? Maybe some of you feel like you were ignoring red flags, or you were constantly giving this person the benefit of the doubt because you really did want to attain something stable with this person. So there's a lot of hope that you were holding on to. But this is about waking up to your reality and accepting it for what it is and not what you want it to be. Okay. I'm going to start off by seeing how you are being viewed. Okay, so we have the devil. Hmm. This card is very fitting, especially because we have rehearsing the past here, right? So it's someone who genuinely feels like they can't stop thinking about you, or there's, certain conversations, certain situations that they're constantly revisiting in hopes that they could, you know, I don't want to say in hopes that they could figure something out, but there's a lot of regret there. So it's like, maybe I should have said this, maybe I should have said that. I just see someone doing a lot of thinking. Okay, the devil could obviously be symbolic for obsessive thoughts, but it also touches on unhealthy attachments. So this is giving me a strong energy of, as you're detaching or as you are not invested as you once were, this is someone who is feeling very drawn to you, feeling very, I need to do something, or feeling some sort of an urgency now, but it may have taken losing you or for you to turn your back on the situation for them to realize, the impact that you have on their life. They're viewing you as someone that they met for a reason, but there's something here where connecting with you could have caused their insecurities to resurface, or it caused something that was suppressed to resurface here, and they were unable to deal with it. Sometimes really important connections in our lives, the point of it is to teach us something. And I feel like there was a lesson that was resurfacing for this person, whether it be something about their lifestyle, whether it be something about their behavior, but they were choosing not to accept that lesson. And I see that it's still resurfacing for them. It's something that is still coming to mind, but they're having a hard time accepting it fully. We have the King of Cups, okay, followed by the Two of Pentacles in the challenge position. Someone who feels like they were juggling, or, in between worlds as they were connecting with you. The King of Cups lets me know that this is someone who has emotions for you, but they were not emotionally balanced when they were connecting with you. For some of you, they were emotionally unavailable. So they were giving to the situation when it was convenient for them, or they were connecting with you, but they were never really able to follow through on the promises that they made you. They were able to connect with you, but they weren't able to offer you stability, right? So whether it's juggling two situations at once, or someone who wanted to connect with you, but also keep their options open. And the main thing that I see here is ignoring a lesson. And so that could be the reason why we had, the repeated or the repetitive cycle cards here, or the second card there. Right, it says repeat cycle. So, again, it could be that you're going back and forth with this person, trying to express to them what's not changing, but they're not really making those changes, right? They're not really altering what's not working here. And I'm strongly getting with the King of Cups and the Two of Pentacles. It's like trying to maintain two things at once and remain emotionally balanced, but it's not something that was working out for them. Hence why those two cards are in the challenge position. How are you viewing them? Wow, the Lovers. What's very interesting is if you look at the Lovers and you look at the Devil, it's almost a similar image here. But the reason why I say that, or the energy that I'm getting here, is that the way that you are viewing this connection is very different from how they're viewing this connection. You are viewing this connection as, yes, I met this person for a reason. Yes, there was a lesson that I learned, but I'm willing to accept that lesson. So there were a lot of signs that you were receiving, but you were accepting them. On the flip side, I feel like this is someone who was very excited to connect with you. I do feel like it was a very intense connection, but the lessons were being ignored. So that's the difference that I see here. The similarities that I see is the fact that the both of you feel like you cross paths for a reason, but one energy was handling it different from the other. Because I do feel like this is a connection with multiple lessons, or it was something that was a little bit complex to get off the ground here. And it could very much be because the both of you individually had things to learn prior to coming together. But if one energy is not picking up on the lessons, of course it's going to create an energetic block here. I also feel, guys, that you feel throughout the course of this bond, it was constantly a very indecisive energy, because a Lovers boils down to needing to make a decision. So maybe you feel like this person was pushing the decision off, putting it on the back burner, connecting with you, but not really making, or not really being firm about what they wanted moving forward. The Four of Wands and the World card. You feel like you need to, let things unfold the way that they're, the way that they're supposed to. The World card is releasing control, letting a cycle close out. And the Four of Wands lets me know that, again, you had high hopes for this connection. It is something that, for some of you, it could have been you were working towards a higher level of commitment. For some of you, even if you got to that space, it could be that this person was, continuing to be indecisive or stepping out in the, on the connection in one way or another. But I feel like you're accepting the reality for what it is. We have the King of Swords and we have the Justice card. So some of you could quite literally be going through like a separation with someone that you have, a lot of history with. And for others of you, King of Swords and Justice card could quite literally be read as divorce, right? So you were in a higher level of commitment with this person, but there was just a repetitive pattern that was just very toxic, very unhealthy. You feel like this is someone who was dishonest with you or unable to follow through on the things that they said they were going to do. And the King of Swords and the Justice card is doing the right thing, even if it feels difficult. So for many of you, you are detached, your back is turned towards a situation, but I think that this is a week where you could kind of be thinking about what you could have had with this person if they were willing to make the changes. And I feel that a part of you feels very disappointed, very let down here. But I think your gut is telling you to keep your distance from this person. I'm also getting a strong energy of getting to the bottom of things, right? So King of Swords is when you're in like this problem solving kind of energy. So whether it's something you're confused about, whether it's something that did not make sense to you about their communication in the past, you're receiving some sort of answers or, seeking clarity when it comes to that. Okay, so we have the Six of Wands clarifying the King of Cups, and we have the Nine of Wands clarifying the Two of Pentacles. This is someone who wants your attention, okay, but they're viewing you as very, very guarded when it comes to them. I also feel here for some of you, you may have this person blocked or there's some sort of a barrier or like an energetic block that they feel when it comes to communicating with you, right? So if it's not about not having a way to speak to you, it could be just not knowing how to get through to you. How do I communicate it? What do I say? And what's interesting is they want your attention, and more specifically, I think that this person wants to communicate something that would pull on your heartstrings. But with the Two of Pentacles and the Nine of Wands, it almost seems to me that you're very guarded, or you're not willing to, like, you're not buying what this person is saying, even if that's something that you fell for in the past, even if you felt like you had a very weak spot for this person in the past. In the now, again, you're detached or things have shifted, especially your emotions and your perspective on this individual. And I'm also getting a strong energy of someone who, like, there could be some sort of success that you're walking into or something that's working out for you and it's visible to them. But it's interesting that these two cards are in the challenge position. So you being on your own, or you doing well on your own without them, and them not being a part of your journey, is something that they feel challenged by. With the Devil card in terms of how they're viewing you, and then we have the King of Cups and the Two of Pentacles, there's something here about this person feeling like when you were making decisions in the past, you would always take their opinion into consideration, or you would always, ask them for their opinion. It's like they were a part of your plans. But in the now, they feel basically like an outsider in your life. And that is it's taking everything in them to adapt to that. I'm getting that specifically. Maybe you guys had a business together. Maybe it was just, goals that you had for yourself, but you would always communicate it with this person. But there's this very cold energy that they're feeling from you, and they're having a very hard time adapting to it. Okay, so we have the Four of Swords in their feelings, and we have the Emperor. They want you to think that everything is okay. The Emperor, it could be a very nonchalant energy, someone who's a bit hard to read, that poker face energy. And with the Four of Swords, what I see is someone who thinks about you, yes, I want to say in a period of solitude. They're not really sharing their feelings with anyone else, but they're also praying for some sort of a breakthrough here. Some of you could be seeing double fours or triple fours. And that's, symbolic for stability. So this is someone who's thinking about the situation, and they're like, I could have had something very stable, right? Or I had something that was very stable until I chose to do something impulsively, until I chose to, want to kind of like have my cake and eat it too with the Two of Pentacles. And the Emperor is like, they don't want you to know how much this is impacting them. The Fool card and the Queen of Pentacles, they felt like they handled this situation in a very careless manner. They were maybe doing the things that felt good in the moment, but not thinking about the future repercussions of that. I'm also getting a strong energy with the Four of Swords, the Emperor, as well as the Queen of Pentacles, is someone who's realizing how much you were actually there for them, right? Some of you could have been there for them, of course, emotionally, but also financially. Maybe this person was able to confide in you about, during a very difficult time. They feel like you know a side of them that a lot of people don't have access to. But there's also a sense of comfort that they gained from connecting with you. And it could have led to a point where they got a little too comfortable and they may possibly thought that you were not going to detach or you were not going to give up on the situation, but that's exactly what you did. And I feel like you were tolerating a lot of this, a lot of their behavior until it got to a point where you absolutely couldn't, because I do see that this is someone you've given countless chances to. I do see that you've constantly given them the benefit of the doubt. Why? Because it stemmed from a place of love. It stemmed from a place of really wanting a connection to work out. And this person could have either used that as leverage or felt like, you know what, I don't see, I can be myself, or I can do the things that I want and I'm still going to have this connection. But it seems to me that this is almost like a rude awakening in a way. Someone connecting with you, feeling that a sense of comfort, but then getting a little too comfortable is pretty much what I see in the spread. And possibly not expecting you to react because, in the past you were very patient with this person, right? You were very nurturing and you would try to understand them. But it got to a point where it was very draining for you. Okay, Three of Pentacles and the Six of Pentacles and the potential outcome. What's the Three of Pentacles? The Queen of Cups. Okay, so we have the Queen of Cups and the King of Cups, Six of Pentacles, Page of Swords. You have someone here who is going to continue to keep tabs on you. And with the Six of Pentacles, I could read this two ways. With the Six of Pentacles and Page of Swords, that could be someone who is, giving to another situation, okay? Or they're trying to maintain two things at once, but they're still, keeping tabs on you, which means they're not happy in their current environment. The other way that I could read this is Six of Pentacles, Page of Swords, Queen of Cups. This is someone with the Three of Pentacles. You could be you're detached, but you could be moving into another situation, or you're pouring into something that's progressing for you and it's very visible to them. The High Priestess. It seems to me, guys, that this person is having a hard time coming back around because they feel like they would have to come back around with their tail between their legs. They feel safer in your silence in the current moment. They're constantly receiving signs about you. This could even be someone who's having vivid dreams. Your energy seems very irreplaceable, where it's like, okay, this is a connection where I could have had, stability. I could have had something very stable. And that's the reason why they can't stop thinking about you. But I also think there's a level of ego or pride involved, or just not wanting you to know how much this is impacting them. For some of you, you walked away in a silent manner, or you felt like you didn't really need to explain yourself because your energy kind of spoke for itself, where it's like, I know what I brought to the table. I know that I was very patient and lenient with this person. So they don't need to admit it to me, but when I leave or when I detach from them, they're going to realize the impact that I had. Because there's like this very silent strength about you is how they're viewing you. Not having to say anything, not having to explain, and just removing yourself from a situation. And now they're starting to realize what they're, missing out on. And bottom of the deck, we have the Strength card. So yeah, very like silent strength or confidence about you moving away here. And this is someone who feels like they're going to constantly be reminded of you, because when they think about this situation, they feel a huge loss. They feel like they made a large mistake here. And Page of Swords is someone who's very, very curious about you, but they don't want you to know that they're inquiring about you or keeping tabs on you. And like I said, with the Three of Pentacles and the Six of Pentacles, that could also be an energy of like wanting to work something out, wanting to have a conversation, but I don't think they're going to follow through on it. With the High Priestess and the Page of Swords, it's a strong energy of let me just keep my distance and let me just watch from afar. And like I said, with the Six of Pentacles, that could even be someone who is trying to give to another situation, trying their best to move on, but somehow they're reminded of you. There's a sense of guilt that they feel. Okay, so let's see if there's anything that they want to communicate. Okay. Why do I feel this way? So trying to make sense of their emotions, possibly thinking that moving on from the situation would have been easier than how it feels right now. Don't wait for me, please. So for many of you, I don't really sense that you are waiting here, but it could be that in the past, because you were very patient and nurturing and lenient with this person, they may feel, you know, that you are waiting here. I wish I could be a different person. I actually want to clarify the don't wait for me, please. Let's see. Why do they feel that way? Because you're detached now. Don't wait for me, please. Ace of Swords, the Hanged Man. They're having a hard time accepting the truth of a situation. For many of you, they're unable to give you the clarity because with the Ace of Swords, there's some sort of truth that's being presented to them, but they feel stuck on this truth. It's not like they're acting on it. The Ace of Swords and the Hanged Man, guys, could also, clarifying the don't wait for me, please, could also be a situation that they feel absolutely stuck in and they don't feel like it's going to change for a while here. The Hanged Man is a very stagnant energy, and the Ace of Swords could be a truth that's being presented to you, right? But because it's coming out with the Hanged Man, it's a strong energy of, well, either not accepting that truth, right? Or acknowledging the truth, but not necessarily doing anything about it. They feel very stuck in a situation. For some of you, this person feels stuck in their current environment, their lifestyle. They may know that it's not good for them, but they don't feel like they're going to come out of it anytime soon. And that's where, and that could be the reason why, or that could be the, yeah, that could be the reason why they feel guilty, right? Or where this guilt is stemming from. Feeling like you were patient with them, but they were all along, they were unable to make the necessary changes, come out of a situation or stop doing something if it was pertaining to their behavior or lifestyle. And then we have, is it over? There's a very back and forth energy here, right? With the Three of Pentacles, there is an energy of wanting to have a conversation. Bottom of the deck, it says, this love is crazy, but I just truly feel like this person feels very stuck. And I'm not saying that they don't know what to do. I think that it feels very difficult to do, where maybe it feels easier to remain silent. Anything else? It is all too much. This is someone who could also be in a very avoidant energy, right? Where it's like avoiding things that feel difficult to think about, knowing what they need to do, but avoiding the actual responsibility behind it to do the very thing. Okay. Let's see. I just want to clarify, is it over? Ace of Wands. There's a lot of passion here, a magnetic attraction. And with the Star card on the bottom of the deck, what they're starting to realize is how rare this connection is. So it's a strong energy of understanding the connection, but feeling unable to make the necessary changes. And I think that's why we have, is it over and don't wait for me, please. They feel very stuck, where it's like, I don't know if I can come out of this. I don't know if I could stop doing, said thing and make those changes to be that person for you. But I feel like with the Page of Swords, Queen of Cups, it's something that they're going to regret. It's something that's going to, when they think of you, they're going to feel uneasy. They're not going to feel at ease. Okay. So that is what I'm getting for you guys this week. I really do hope you were able to find a message that resonated with you here today. And thank you so much for your time.